Haley Carter was 19 when life began to break her piece by piece. She lived with her mother Melissa and her stepfather Victor Reed in a house that never felt like home. Her real father had left when she was little, and all she remembered of him were her mother's soft words, "You are my reason to live." Victor's anger filled every corner of their home. He constantly complained that Haley was lazy and unwanted, but Melissa always stood by her daughter, saying quietly, "If she goes, I go too." Those words protected Haley again and again. She studied at a small college and worked evenings in a cafe to pay her fees. Every night she returned to a cold house, waited for her mother to come home, and tried to stay strong. Then one morning, Melissa collapsed while making breakfast. At the hospital, doctors said she needed rest, but her condition worsened. Haley worked double shifts, sold her books to pay for medicine, and prayed every night for her mother to recover. 2 weeks later, Melissa passed away, leaving Haley shattered and alone. When she returned home, Victor threw her out, saying she had no place there anymore. With nowhere to go, she stood in the street and whispered to the wind, "Mom, what do I do now?" Remembering her mother's last words, "Never give up," she picked up her small bag and started walking toward nowhere, guided only by fragile hope. Days of hunger and loneliness followed until she found a cafe whose owner, Mrs. Hill, took pity on her and offered her work. She cleaned tables, saved every coin, and eventually rented a small cracked room above a grocery store. She placed a tiny plant by the window and called it hope. Life moved slowly but forward, until one night, everything changed. On her way home, a speeding car hit her. As she lay on the road, bleeding and terrified, a man's voice told her softly, "Stay with me. You'll be fine." His name was Ethan. He had found her, called for help, and refused to leave her side. When Haley woke in the hospital, Ethan was there again, kind and calm. He brought her soup, visited daily, and spoke gently until she learned to smile again. When she was discharged, he helped her return to her small room and told her, "Sometimes it's okay to stop surviving and start living." Over time, their friendship deepened into quiet trust. He gave her a second-hand phone so she could call him if she ever needed help, saying, "It's time someone cared for you just because they want to." His kindness became her strength. A few weeks later, Haley received a letter from a lawyer saying her biological father, Daniel Carter, had been searching for her. Confused and emotional, she shared it with Ethan, who encouraged her to meet him. Together, they traveled to Seattle, where she finally met Daniel, a man who had never abandoned her but had been forced away from her mother years ago. Their reunion was full of tears and forgiveness. Daniel and Ethan quickly bonded, and for the first time, Haley felt like she had a family again. Peace returned to her life until a letter arrived from Victor, threatening to destroy it all again. But this time, she wasn't alone. With her father and Ethan beside her, she faced him bravely. When Victor tried to confront her, Ethan stood between them, protecting her until the police came. It was finally over. Haley began working with her father's charity, helping young girls who had nowhere to go. When one girl asked how she had survived, Haley smiled and said, "Because one stranger decided to care." Over time, love blossomed quietly between her and Ethan. One evening, he told her, "The day I saw you on that road, I thought I was saving your life, but now I know you saved mine." With tears in her eyes, she nodded, realizing her heart had finally found peace. They married in a small garden, with Daniel proudly giving her a bracelet that once belonged to her mother. Haley whispered, "She's here with us." Years later, she fulfilled her dream of becoming a nurse, while Ethan worked with Daniel to build community centers for the homeless. Every night, she looked at Ethan and said, "It still feels like a dream." And he would reply, "It's real because you never stopped believing." The girl who once walked the streets alone had found love, family, and purpose. The stranger who saved her life had become her home.